Picture a house at 11 at night. Every light is off, every person is asleep, and yet the place is still working. A vacuum is finishing the kitchen floor on its own. A ring on someone's finger is quietly logging their heart rate. A camera by the front door is watching for anything that shouldn't be there. Somewhere upstairs, a mattress is even adjusting its own temperature without anyone reaching for a switch. Nobody told any of it to start. It just knows the day is over. None of this is a smart home fantasy. None of it is a future concept waiting for a release date. Every device in that house exists right now, sold and shipped today, mostly through Amazon, to ordinary people who wanted their home to keep working even after they stopped. What follows are 20 real gadgets built to run while you sleep, ranked from the ones that barely touch the night to the one that reaches directly into it. Every single one is linked in the description below in the exact order it appears here, so if something catches your eye, it's one tap away. Before we get into it, if you're into this kind of thing, hit like so more people find this list, drop a comment with a gadget you're most tempted to buy, and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss the next one. Stick around for the first one, because it starts with the gadget most people would never guess belongs on this list at all. Number 20. The Time Kettle W4 Pro. At around $299 to $400 depending on configuration, this is a pair of real-time translation earbuds. Two people wear a pair each, speak normally, and hear each other's words translated instantly, with an offline mode built for travel. It's not an overnight monitor, and it doesn't run while anyone's eyes are closed. What it does is quietly clear a task off tomorrow's plate tonight, so a traveler can pack, plan, and prepare for a foreign meeting without the usual last-minute scramble to translate documents or rehearse phrases before bed. It closes this list, not opens it, because it's the one gadget here that works on the day ahead instead of the night itself. And that's exactly why it earns the 20th spot instead of a higher one. For anyone whose calendar is stacked with international calls the next morning, that quiet bit of prep the night before is worth more than it looks. Number 19. The Amazon Astro-style home robot. Priced at the premium end of the home robotics category, this is a mobile home robot that patrols on its own, checks in on rooms, and can be set to move through a house at set times, sending alerts if anything looks out of place. The task it replaces isn't a phone task exactly, it's a walk through the habit of doing one last lap of the house before bed, checking doors, checking rooms, checking that everything is where it should be. A patrolling home robot does that lap on a loop, all night, without anyone getting out of bed to do it themselves. It's the closest thing on this list to a genuine night watchman, except this one never gets tired and never needs to be woken up to ask if everything's fine. It just keeps circling, quietly logging what a normal night looks like, so it immediately notices the night that isn't. Number 18. The Luna Robot Pet Dog AI Companion. At around $349 and up, Luna is an autonomous robot companion with an expressive digital face, independent movement, and behaviors that shift depending on the time of day, including calmer, quieter patterns once a house goes dark. It doesn't replace a specific chore so much as it replaces the quiet feeling of an empty house at night. Luna keeps moving, reacting, and existing in the space even after everyone's gone to bed, which is a strange kind of company for people who live alone or simply like knowing something in the house is still awake. It's a small detail, but it changes how a dark, quiet house actually feels at 2 in the morning. 3 gadgets in, and the pattern is already visible. This isn't a list about devices that turn off when the lights do. It's about devices that only really get going once everyone else has stopped. Number 17. The Moppet Emo AI Desk Robot Companion. At around $419. Emo is a small desk robot with an expressive face and an AI personality that reacts to touch, sound, and conversation, and settles into a lower energy mode once a room goes quiet for the night. There isn't a phone task Emo replaces so much as a phone habit it interrupts during the day, but overnight its role shifts, it stays present on the desk, a small reactive thing in an otherwise silent room. Instead of a device that simply shuts off the second nobody's looking at it. It's a reminder that working while you sleep doesn't always mean solving a problem. Sometimes it just means staying switched on when everything else in the room has gone dark, holding a small, expressive presence in a house that would otherwise feel completely still. Number 16. The iFlyTech iNote 2. At around $500, this is an AI note-taking tablet that listens, transcribes, and organizes in real time. Whether you write by hand, speak out loud, or switch between both without thinking about it. Used right before bed, it becomes the place where a scattered day gets folded into something usable, the half-formed idea. The task remembered at the last second. The line from a call nobody wrote down. By morning, none of it is lost, because the device did the organizing overnight instead of leaving it for a groggy first hour at a desk. It's the first hint on this list of a theme that keeps returning: gadgets built to catch a thought before sleep erases it, so tomorrow starts already halfway organized. Its paper-like display even keeps the whole process from feeling like one more screen competing for attention right before lights out. Number 15. The Plaud NotePen SAI Voice Recorder. At around $159 to $179 plus a subscription, the NotePen clips to a collar or sits on a desk and continuously transcribes conversations, then uses AI to produce structured summaries with action items pulled out automatically. Left running through a late call or worn during a last work conversation of the day, it turns spoken words into a searchable record without anyone typing a single note. Overnight, that recording quietly becomes an organized summary. So the version of you that wakes up isn't the one who has to reconstruct what happened the night before. It replaces the hours normally spent turning memory into notes after the fact, which matters most exactly when nobody has the energy left to do it themselves. For anyone whose day ends later than it should, that's the difference between waking up to a mess and waking up to a plan. Number 14. The Firewall Gold Plus. Priced at around $319, this is a home network security appliance that sits quietly between a house and the internet, watching every device connected to it, flagging intrusions, and blocking suspicious activity without anyone monitoring a dashboard. It replaces the phone task of checking on smart devices one by one, wondering if a camera, a speaker, or a laptop has been compromised. Firewall does that checking continuously, all night, closing the exact gap that opens the moment everyone in the house stops paying attention. At an hour when a slow response to a real intrusion attempt matters more than at any other point in the day, it works entirely in the background, never asking for a glance at a dashboard, which is exactly what a security device should do while the people it's protecting are asleep. Theme has shifted from a house that cleans and organizes itself to a house that actively protects itself while everyone inside it is unconscious. Number 13. The Aqara Camera Hub G3. At around $99, this is a smart camera and home hub combined, offering local motion detection, gesture recognition, and automation triggers that can control lights, locks, and other devices without any cloud delay. It replaces the manual bedtime routine of checking each smart device individually. Did the door lock? Did the porch light turn off? Is anything moving where it shouldn't be? The G3 handles all of that from one hub, watching and adjusting through the night so nobody has to get up to check twice. Because everything runs locally, none of that watching depends on a shaky internet connection at 3 in the morning. Number 12. The TP-Link Tapo C425. At around $69, this is a battery-powered, weatherproof outdoor security camera with night vision and motion alerts. Priced low enough that most households can place one at every entry point without a serious dent in the budget. It replaces the anxious habit of listening for sounds outside before finally falling asleep. Instead of straining to hear whether that noise outside was nothing, the camera watches in the dark and only sends an alert when something on screen actually warrants one. At this price, it's easy enough to add without anyone thinking twice about whether it's worth it. Number 11. The Eufy Security S330 with Bionic Mind AI. Priced at around $199 to $299, this security camera uses on-device AI to tell the difference between a person, a car, a package, and an animal, cutting down on false alerts while still catching anything that genuinely matters. It replaces the phone task of scrubbing through hours of footage after a restless night wondering what that one notification was about. Bionic Mind sorts through the noise itself, so the only alerts that reach a sleeping household are the ones actually worth waking up for, instead of a phone buzzing every time a moth drifts past the lens, which is the difference between a security system people trust and one they eventually silence out of frustration. Already the through line is obvious. Half of this list isn't cleaning or tracking, it's standing guard, quietly doing the job a person would otherwise lie awake worrying about. Number 10. The Furbo Mini 360 Pet Camera. Somewhere between about $100 and $200, this rotating pet camera dispenses treats and sends AI-driven alerts for barking, unusual movement, or a pet wandering somewhere it shouldn't, watching the whole room instead of a fixed corner. It replaces the light sleeper habit of listening for a pet through the wall, wondering if that thump downstairs was something to worry about. Furbo does the watching itself and only interrupts sleep when something actually needs attention, instead of leaving that decision to half-conscious guessing. It even doubles as a way to check in without getting out of bed at all, treat dispenser included. Number 9. The Amazon Echo Show 11 with Alexa Plus. Priced at around $220 and up. This is a smart display that can run full bedtime routines, set alarms, manage reminders, and surface home security alerts, all through a screen that sits quietly on a nightstand or in a kitchen. It replaces a whole stack of separate phone habits, checking the weather before bed, setting an alarm, glancing at security notifications, folding all of it into one device that handles the routine automatically once it's told to, night after night, without anyone touching a phone at all. It sits there quietly running the same sequence every evening, which is exactly the kind of repetition a person tends to forget and a device never does. From dimming a nearby lamp to reading tomorrow's first meeting out loud before the lights go off. Number 8. The Google Nest Learning Thermostat. Priced at roughly $249 to $279. This thermostat studies routines over the first week or two of use and then adjusts bedroom temperature on its own, with no schedule programmed by hand. It replaces the phone in hand moment of nudging a thermostat app before bed, then again at 3 in the morning when a room gets too warm or too cold to stay comfortable. Nest handles that shift on its own, cooling or warming a bedroom exactly when sleep would otherwise be interrupted, learning the household's rhythm well enough to act before anyone even notices they're uncomfortable. Every device from here forward does something a person's own body would otherwise have to do the work of noticing. Number 7. The Ringcon Gen 2 Air Smart Ring. Somewhere between about $199 and $299, this smart ring tracks heart rate, blood oxygen, respiratory rate, skin temperature, and sleep stages continuously, without a screen and without needing to be charged every night. It replaces the phone's role as a health dashboard, the habit of checking an app each morning to guess how the night actually went. Instead, the ring quietly builds a full night's physiological record, while its wearer is completely unconscious, ready to read the moment they wake up. Nobody glancing at a hand across a pillow would ever guess it's doing clinical grade sensing the entire time. Number 6. The Whoop 5.0. Priced at around $239 and up with a membership, Whoop tracks recovery, strain, and sleep continuously through the night, then turns all of it into a single readable score by morning, without a screen on the device itself. It replaces the guesswork of judging how rested you feel, based on nothing but how groggy the alarm made you. Whoop does the measuring while the body does the resting, translating an entire unconscious night into information a person can actually act on before the day even starts. It's the difference between assuming a night was rough and actually knowing why, and knowing exactly how hard to push the next day because of it. Number 5. The Aura Ring. At around $299 and up, Aura tracks sleep stages, heart rate variability, temperature shifts, and recovery. All from a ring worn to bed instead of a wrist-mounted device or a phone left glowing on a nightstand. It replaces the entire mental habit of trying to self-assess a night's sleep from memory. Aura measures instead of guesses, quietly logging exactly what happened between the moment someone's head hit the pillow and the moment their alarm went off, without asking its wearer to do anything but fall asleep. 3 wearables in a row, and the theme keeps sharpening the body doing nothing at all, while a tiny piece of jewelry does the actual work of understanding it. Number 4. The Withings Sleep Analyzer. At around $129, this is a thin sensor pad that slides under a mattress and tracks sleep cycles, breathing patterns, snoring, and heart rate without ever touching skin or needing to be worn at all. It replaces every wearable habit on this list at once. No ring, no strap, no screen to glance at before bed. It just sits under the mattress and does the measuring invisibly, which makes it the gadget most likely to be forgotten entirely, right up until the morning report shows up. For anyone who's tried a ring or a strap and given up on wearing something to bed, this is the version that asks for nothing at all. Number 3. The Roborock Ceros Z70. At around $1,299, this is a robotic vacuum mop with an extending mechanical arm that lifts and reaches into corners, under furniture, and around clutter that stops most robot vacuums cold, combined with obstacle recognition sharp enough to navigate a busy household on its own. It replaces the physical chore of vacuuming and mopping altogether, running through an empty, sleeping house and reporting back only through an app when a decision is actually needed. That extending arm is the detail that pushes it past smart vacuum and into small household robot, working its way through a home while everyone in it is asleep upstairs, reaching into corners a normal vacuum would just quietly avoid forever. Number 2. The Dream Matrix 10 Ultra. At around $1,699, this is a premium autonomous vacuum and mop robot that navigates a home with mapping precision, avoids obstacles in real time, and handles both floor types and edge cases most cheaper robots stumble on. It replaces the entire chore of floor cleaning. Time to run overnight so the first thing anyone sees in the morning is a spotless kitchen instead of the mess left behind from the night before. It's the kind of device that used to only exist in imagined future homes, and now exists in actual homes, working while everyone's asleep down the hall, mapping every room with a precision that used to belong to commercial cleaning crews, not a box that showed up on a porch. And now, the gadget that closes this list. Not the cheapest, not the smallest, but the one piece of hardware here that doesn't just work near sleep, it actively manages it. Number 1. The 8 Sleep Pod 5 Ultra. At around $3,000 and up, this is a full smart bed system that actively adjusts mattress temperature through the night, tracks sleep stages in real time, and gently changes conditions to keep sleep undisturbed instead of simply recording that it happened. There's no single phone task this replaces, because it isn't solving a phone problem at all, it's solving the actual problem underneath every other gadget on this list, which is getting genuinely better sleep in the first place. Every other device here watches, records, or cleans around the edges of the night. This one reaches directly into the night itself and changes how it goes, warming or cooling each side of the mattress independently based on what 2 different bodies actually need at 3 in the morning. That's what makes it the natural device to close this list on. Every other gadget here works while you sleep. This one works on your sleep, adjusting a mattress in real time the way no ring, no camera, and no vacuum ever could, which is about as close to a house taking care of its owner as a real product gets. 20 gadgets, 1 shared idea. A house doesn't have to go quiet just because the people in it did. A vacuum finishing the floor at midnight. A ring reading a heartbeat nobody's awake to check. A camera standing guard over an empty hallway. A bed adjusting itself around a body that never has to lift a finger. None of it needed a lab coat or a research grant to reach an ordinary bedroom, it just needed someone willing to click buy before turning off the light. What's striking, looking back across all 20, is how much of a house can now run itself overnight without a single person awake to supervise any of it. A ring, a camera, a thermostat, a robot with a face. The technology is the extraordinary part. The fact that it happens while everyone's asleep is what makes it easy to forget it's even there. Look at the spread across this list and a pattern starts to show up on its own. The cheapest entries are the ones standing guard, a camera here, a network box there, each one built to notice a single thing going wrong and stay silent when nothing does. The middle of the list is where a home starts doing its own thinking, adjusting temperature, running routines, organizing a day before it's even begun. And the gadgets at the very top aren't watching a house anymore, they're watching a body, turning an unconscious 8 hours into something measured, understood, and in the case of a smart bed, actively shaped in real time. Which of these 20 would actually earn a permanent place in your bedroom? And which ones still feel like more than your nightstand needs? That's worth sitting with, because the honest answer says more about how ready your house already is for this than any single product on this list ever could. Every gadget in this video is linked in the description below. Prices move constantly, so check current listings before deciding. And if you want to see where this category goes next, subscribe, because the gap between a house that sleeps and a house that works all night is closing faster than most people realize.